Okay, as you probably now know, hopefully, that we're taking grades in this class. So it's a high school course. You get high school credit for it. You got to have a grade, so we got to start doing grades. So a lot of you have been not turning in your work. So there's basically been 3 weeks of algebra work. That first week was kind of a half week, and I didn't assign any algebra work that week. You were doing grade level stuff. So this is our fourth week of algebra stuff. So the first 2 weeks of algebra are not going to be graded. So if you're one of the many people that haven't done anything yet or turned anything in at least, you don't have to turn in the work for those first 2 weeks. However, you need to know how to do it because we are going to have a final, and problems from the first 2 weeks are going to be on the final. So even if you haven't done those problems, you still need to know how to do them so that you can do them on the final. All right, the grades start as of last week. So last week was the week of April 13th. So if you have a bad grade right now, it's because you didn't do all the work from last week. So at least get that in and then do this week's work, and from here forward keep turning your work in, and then you'll have, if you turn all that in, you'll have a 70% out of 100 already, and then you'll only need another 20% on your final, which is out of 30%. So you'll need 2/3 of the possible points on your final to get to a 90. So 2/3 of the possible points, that's basically a 66%. So you could get a D on your final and still get an A for the class. So you don't have to know all this stuff by heart. I know it's moving fast and it's different trying to learn from home, but as long as you're doing your work, you're going to pick up enough along the way that you'll be able to get a 66 on the final, and you'll get an A and everything will be fine. All right, so today, the problems are the exact same as yesterday. So I'm not going to go through the whole lesson again yesterday. If you haven't done any of the problems yet, watch the lesson from Monday. It'll teach you how to do this stuff. What I'm going to do is show you an even numbered problem from yesterday, because all the answers to the odd numbered problems are in the back of the book. The even numbers is one art. So this was number 20, and this was an example where you have a positive in one parenthesis and a negative in the other parenthesis. So the shortcut is you multiply the two terms in a parenthesis together. So you multiply your your 5 and your 6 in one parenthesis and you get negative 30, and you multiply the 5 and the 6 in the other parenthesis and you get positive 30n, and those are going to cancel out. So your middle term, your ax squared plus bx plus c, your middle term bx is gone. It's zero. It canceled out. So when you have this, when you have two parentheses that look exactly the same, but one is positive and the other one's negative, your b term is going to be gone. It's just going to be an ax squared term and a constant, a c term. And to get those, all you do is square these numbers by themselves. So you square 6 and you square 5, and those are your terms. So you'll get 36 minus 25 n squared. Now, usually you want to write the equation so that your squared term is first. That's called the leading coefficient. Whatever variable has the highest exponent, that should be your first one. So you want to switch the 25 and the 36, 25n squared and 36, but be careful when you do that. People switch these and they want to put a minus sign in between them because it's a minus sign that you started with. But that minus sign goes with the number immediately after it, which is the 25. So it's the 25 that's negative. So the 25 has to stay negative. And the 36 is positive, so it has to stay positive. So it actually looks like this. Negative 25n squared plus 36 would be the answer to that one. Now, if you don't like that shortcut method, you can always multiply one parenthesis by the other by distributing the 6 through and then distributing the negative 5n through and get 4 terms and then combine your like terms. So I'm going to show you that way. So you do 6 times 6, which is 36, and you do your 6 times your 5n, and you get plus 30n. And then, so that's my first two terms here. I multiplied the 6 times the 6. So I'm distributing this 6 through that parenthesis first. So the 6 times the 6 is 36. and the 6 times the 5 is positive 30n. Now I'm going to distribute the negative 5 through. So negative 5 times 6 is minus 30n, and negative 5 times positive 5 is negative 25n squared. So those are the 4 terms you get if you do the distribution long ways. You don't take the shortcut method of the special products that I taught you yesterday. Now your n terms, your positive 30 and your negative 30, are going to cancel out, and you're just left with 36 minus 25 n squared, and you are right back to where we started. You switch those orders, and it's the negative stays with the 25 and the positive stays with the 36, so you get the same answer. All right, so you don't, this special products patterns are really just shortcuts. This method right here is always going to work. If you multiply your 2 parentheses together, you'll get 4 terms. You can combine your like terms, and you'll get the same answer as if you just kind of did this in your head and you know your special products patterns. So it'll make your work a little bit quicker if you know your patterns, if you know the lesson from yesterday. But you don't have to know them to still get the right answer. Just do it the long way, the old-fashioned way, and you'll still get the same answer. So hopefully you don't have too much troubles today. But if you do, send me an email.